Good evening, morning, midday, wherever it is you are tuning in from at this time. This is Ray, your chaotic host of the Chaotic Sync. My higher spirit is Lyra, and today we are going to be talking about healing away from those you deeply care about as you embark on your journey to self-discovery. This is going to be a little bit of a heavy episode, so be sure to have your drinks, your favorite snacks, and maybe a little comfort support like a favorite blanket or a pillow or something. And I welcome you to come vibe with me. I really enjoy spiritual and healing journeys from everyone's perspective. For the most of the time, when people talk about their journeys, it's usually very enlightening and very empowering and very, very positive. And it's rare that, at least it's been rare for me, that I've been gifted the time to sit and talk with somebody who has been on their journey for way longer than I have, that embraces all the shards and pieces and ups and downs of their search for a better tomorrow. And what I mean by that is, like I said, a lot of people are very amped to tell you about the good things, all the positive things that they've encountered and occur as they're looking for themselves. And those are great. You know, those are beautiful moments to share. And it's a great feel-good story. You know, it's a great inspiration for you to keep going. But I really do appreciate those who take the time to sit me down and say, hey, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. One of the things I struggled with the most, and still struggle with today on my journey, is being okay with the ebb and flow of things, especially when it comes to relationships and friendships. I was raised and taught to fight for the things you want and the people you love, and if you don't fight for it, then you never really wanted it to begin with. And this isn't a terrible mindset to have, but it is a dangerous one, because if it's not set up properly, then you slide into the territory of people pleasing and self-shrinking and not expressing your needs and all those types of things, not enforcing boundaries, possibly losing yourself in the pursuit of keeping everybody else balanced. And on your self-discovery journey, as you move through those shadows and those parts of you, and you start reclaiming pieces of you, and you start discovering what it is that you truly like and or what you don't like, or, you know, those little things, you start to form boundaries and personal opinions and perspectives and outlooks of the world. And no one mentions what happens after you start to gain those type of qualities. Well, not no one. Most people don't mention what happens after you start to gain those type of qualities, which is why I said I like to sit with those who have been on their journeys for a long time, because they have no problem sharing the dark sides as well. And I think knowing those other sides to the positive. Those heavy things, those dark things, those uncomfortable things plays a huge role and is a huge benefit to your self-discovery. Because without knowing those parts, you find yourself in a blissful, naive state of mind and kind of a lowball assumption that those who are around you are doing their own type of work in healing, and that's not always the case. And as you genuinely dedicate yourself to your own healing and your own growing and all of that stuff, there's this natural distancing that takes place between you and your older, and I don't mean older as an age, I mean like your old peer group, your old group of friends and all of that. If you were constantly around toxic situations, toxic people, if you partaked and played a role in that season of your life, when you come out of that, when you start to develop emotional intelligence and maturity, and you begin to develop your own sense and viewpoint of the world, you begin to realize that it's hard to connect with those people that were so close to you, that was your group, that were your family, your chosen family. And it's difficult because on one hand, you've known them for quite some time. You really do care for them. You really do want them to do and be better and grow in the same capacity, if not more, than you are doing, because you love them and you want the absolute best for people that you love. But on the other hand, you can't do the work for them. I was given a great gift and a curse from someone that I trust, that's close to my inner circle, and we got locked in a conversation about just some of the things that I was experiencing and going through. And they told me, you want more for people than they want for themselves. And that's not a bad trait to have. However, it can become very slippery and a very dangerous mindset very quickly if it's not regulated, if you don't have boundaries and control over that feeling and that aspect of yourself. Because you can swoop in and play the hero and fix problems and give solutions to those who you really believe want to do better, or at least on your personal aspect, you want them to do better, and you realize that the situation is really bad and that's, this can be changed. This can easily be changed. But they have to want it. They have to want that change as badly as you want it. And it's almost like a catch-22, because you can tell they want the change. They've probably even vocalized and expressed to you that they want the change and that they're willing to do the work to do the change. But when it really comes down to them doing those exact things, they don't. It becomes really hard. Change is hard. You can step back and reflect on how far you've come in regards to, the pain and grieving and all of the trial and error that you did. I always get those confused. Error. But the trials and error that you've done with yourself to make the changes in your life so that you can be better. You remember how difficult it was. You remember those sleepless nights. You remember randomly breaking down crying, the panic attacks, the anxiety attacks, the I'm not getting better, this isn't going to work, I don't know what I'm doing. You remember all of those things. And I'm proud of you. I'm proud of me for fighting through it and getting to the other side. Once you do it the first couple of times after you conquer your first, second, third fear, obstacle, hardship, grieving period, ego death, once you get through your first couple of ones, then it kind of becomes a cakewalk in a way. So yeah, there are some that hit you like a tsunami wave and push you back and really test how strong and resilient you've become. But you keep pushing forward. You keep making it happen because that's what you want. And then there are those, when the tsunami wave comes, they rely on the things that they know because they don't trust that there's something on the other side of that wave. They don't trust that there's a calmness. They don't trust that they will be able to find land again. They don't trust in themselves that they can handle the challenge. And when they realize that, well, yeah, they express that they wanted it, but it's much, much easier to shift the blame onto the person who initiated it for them. Because you gotta think about it. If it was something that they really wanted to change, why haven't they? And I know that sounds kind of mean, I guess. But it is a very true question. And I know for me, I look at it as in like, oh, they just don't have the support. They don't have, anyone in their corner. But I see that they can conquer that mountain in front of them. And that person is an absolute badass because I know what they're capable of. And I am in their corner all the way for them to reach the peak and be victorious. And it's all a good hoorah and a great cheer until you get to the base of that mountain and they look up. And like I said to you, after a couple of rounds, you're like, this is easy. This is a molehill. And all they see is up. But there's no stairs. There's no escalator. There's no elevator. Honestly, even if there was thousands and thousands of stairs, they're definitely not going to take that because there's no escalator or elevator. There's no quick way to the top. You didn't tell me that this was going to be work. You just told me that it was better on the other side, and you failed to tell me that you had to go through all of these things to get that better. And no matter how much you're there saying, oh, but it's nothing, it's okay, I'm here, I'm by your side, we're going to do this together, I got you, just put one hand on that rock and put that foot on the other rock and hoist yourself up, and the more you build your upper strength and the more you climb, the easier it's going to be and the more exhilarating it's going to feel, and the more and more you can hype it up anyway. As much as you need to, you can package it with a pretty little bow. You can even put something that they really, really truly desire at the top of that mountain. And they will find a reason to tell you why they can't. They will find a reason to claim why they don't need whatever it is that you put at the top. There will always be a reason. And that's very hard, because now you're kind of at this impasse. I believe in you, but you don't believe in yourself. You're mad at me for believing in you. Or is it that you are mad at you for not believing in yourself? It becomes this just very weird puzzle. Everything was put together and everything fit so perfectly in the original picture, but the second you take a piece out and replace it with a different piece of the same shape, so it fits nicely into it, but it's not a part of that picture, it sticks out like a sore thumb. And that sore thumb is you. This isn't a bad thing. In fact, it, in a way, is a good thing. Because let's say the picture was black and white and you've moved on to something a little bit more colorful. So there you are, this beautiful, bright piece fitting into a world that doesn't have color for you anymore. It's different, because what I don't want you to take from these random thoughts is, hurt or pain, or I don't want you to feel anger, or I don't even want you to feel sadness towards it. It's just different. You are doing the work, you are healing, and you're doing it for a reason, so that you can be better, not bitter. And sometimes with better comes a change in your circle of friends, a change in your environment, a change with your family. And that's okay. Humans are very social creatures, and community and family and all of that is very, very important to us. So it's very hard to kind of sit there and be like, I'm going to be alone. Like I don't understand. Like this is my family. You would think that they want this for me, and you can go off 100 miles in your brain and you can cut it and slice it and reframe it and reposition it as many times as you need. But it's not going to change that picture. You're still sticking out like a sore thumb, because you have elevated and you've upgraded to something better. Better friends, better environment, more opportunities. Things start to open up and become better. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that group of friends or family or even that environment was bad. It just means that it served its purpose for the time being. For that version of you that needed that chapter. For that version of you that possibly even thrived in that space at one point. But this newer version of you, this new, glowing, growing, elevated version of you cannot grow or elevate there. It's time for you to change the size of the pots. It's time for you to change out the soil so that your roots can go deeper. Because if you stay there, then it will stunt your growth. You yourself will eventually begin to revert back to that negative space, to those negative mindsets. You yourself will begin to shrink again out of fear of making others uncomfortable. And that's not fair to you. You've done a lot of work. You've done a lot of healing. You're doing a lot of work and you're doing a lot of healing to move from that. And it's okay to look at those and say, I have to go. Even if you whisper it quietly, even if you don't even directly say it to them, you're just in your room, on your bed, having an amazing cry session as you grieve and release those things that are no longer serving you. Whisper it softly. Thank you. It's been amazing. The times, the good times, the sad times, the bad times, the crying, the laughing, the events, the parties, all of it. It's been great. But it's time for me to go. It's hard to heal away from the people you have love for. But if you are ever going to reach your higher self, your greatest potential, it's necessary. Progress forward is necessary. And this isn't to say that they can't catch up and meet you at a later season in your life after they've done their own work and healing and you happen to cross paths again and have a chat and be your own judge. Use your own discernment to see how they're doing, to see if there's a possibility of rekindling. I am a believer in giving some people second chances. But that's not always the case. And it doesn't have to always be the case. You be the judge of who is worth your time and that additional chance. If it's a natural growing apart, a natural separation, I think it's fair to see where they are in their journey and correlate and see if it aligns with where you are in that moment. And I think that's pretty fair. So I say that to clarify that you don't owe it to those who have deliberately and maliciously hurt you. You can have love for them still, because I know sometimes that could be parental or even an old spouse, lover that you truly felt deep for, and maybe they were just going through things in life. And you can forgive it for your own happiness, for your own sanity, and your own peace. But that doesn't mean you have to let them back in. That doesn't mean you have to tolerate the belligerent behavior. That doesn't mean you have to tolerate anything that's toxic or abrasive or just unwanted from them. But to those that you kind of just did a silent goodbye to those who truly didn't cause any harm, didn't mean any harm, didn't really do any harm, you just moved away in a different direction from them, a cordial hello. Hey, how have you been? How's the kids? How's so-and-so doing? I'm so happy to see you're doing well, maybe we can catch up and get lunch one day and see where it goes. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. To be honest, I don't even know if I really have any, because like I said, I'm kind of still in the midst of it, even myself. I'm trying to figure out how to balance and navigate this part, but I will say this. You made a very conscious and active decision, the same way that they are making active. I very leniently say conscious decision on their behalf, because to be honest, the majority of us are just walking around on autopilot, trying to get to the next day and the next day and the next day. But you devoted yourself to be better. And that is the best gift you've ever given yourself. So, if no one else, be there in your corner. Be your own champion, your own hype man, your own cheerleader to every mountain, obstacle, hardship, to everything. Be there for you. Because at least that'll be guaranteed. At least you know that you have yourself. Whether you slip and fall, start again, make it to the top, succeed, and move on to the next one. Regardless, you know that at the end of the day, you have you, and you are doing this for the improvement of you, for the improvement of your future, your happiness, your peace. You're doing it for you. That's the only control and absolute you have, is you. Be that puzzle piece that has no problem being bright and beautiful, that constantly changes its color to fit the next image of your higher self. You're doing amazing work. Amazing work that is long overdue, that is long owed to you. And regardless of if they understand or come along with you or whatever, it doesn't matter, because you got you. You worked very hard to find you. Let's not ever lose you again. Thanks for vibing with me, Heartbeats. I love you guys. I hope you have a beautiful evening, a beautiful start to your day. Or if this is your midday, you got this. Push it out. Second half, you got this. Make sure you get some water. Make sure you're eating. And don't dim your lights for anyone. Many blessings to you all. I'll see you again soon.